And before we end tonight's show, let's talk about something that we need to talk about more. Loneliness. And we'd be lying if we said we've never felt lonely, but somehow we just don't talk about it enough. Loneliness is stigmatized. Saying I'm lonely often translates to I'm a loser. So for all of those who feel that way or endorse such a feeling, I have news. 2 in 5 people around you are lonely. That's what an Ipsos survey found in March this year. 2 in 5 people said that they became lonelier in the last 6 months. 41% of the population today feels lonelier. What are we doing about it? In the Netherlands, a supermarket chain is setting up what they call chat checkouts. Instead of an auto checkout bot, they will be creating special counters with human cashiers. They will check out items. They will also interact with the customers like shopkeepers used to back in the day. These humans at the special counters will have small conversations with their customers, and this is a brilliant idea, and I'll tell you why. At least 33% of Dutch people above the age of 75 say they feel lonely. Having a conversation is a great way to fix that. There are other ways too, and we'll talk about it in a bit. But first, let's address some basics, like loneliness stereotypes. A girl sitting at a corner in a party is not necessarily lonely, but a person who has bouts of anger may be lonely. A person with just 2 friends may not be lonely, but a social media celebrity with more than 1 million followers may be. Loneliness cannot be compartmentalized in black and white. It's basically the lack of desired relationships. Humans want to love and be loved. We want fulfilling relationships, all of us, with friends, family, parents, a partner, colleagues. But often there's a gap between desired relationships and the reality. And this is when loneliness seeps in. So you walk into a room full of familiar faces, but you cannot open your heart out to even one person sitting in there. You have a contact list full of friends, but there's not a single one of them you would call when feeling anxious. You walk into a cafeteria, and you're not sure if there's anyone you would like to sit next to. That is loneliness. We humans thrive on human connections. Loneliness is the lack of those connections. It affects each person's behavior differently. Some people feel burnt out, some people feel self-doubt, some act out, something similar, in fact, happened in Japan. Elders are shoplifting in Japan. By early 2000s, crime rates among the elderly had doubled compared to the previous decade. Experts thought the shoplifting was a result of dementia. But this was until they realized that loneliness was forcing elders to steal. Some elders wanted to be spoken to. They were desperate for a conversation, a human contact. And that's why they did what they did. Then there are others who think they have become invisible. Some of these old men and women are shoplifting because they think no one is noticing them. This is how loneliness affects you. It also impacts your productivity. It costs the UK £2.5 billion per year in lost productivity and ill health. Loneliness costs the United States $7 billion every year. Even governments have recognized the problem. Today, the United Kingdom has a Ministry of Loneliness. So does Japan. The UAE, they had a Ministry of Happiness. More countries are waking up to the problem of loneliness because it is taking a toll on economy and lives. Let's also look at how loneliness affects our health. It increases the risk of death by 26%, believe it or not, increases the risk of heart diseases, strokes, high blood pressure, dementia. It also puts a person at the risk of depression. In 2010, a psychology professor called Holt Lundstad published a study. She linked loneliness to morbidity, and she concluded that loneliness is as bad for our health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It is worse than obesity. Let me show you some numbers from the United Kingdom. This is what it says. More than 59% of those aged above 85 in the UK live alone. 38% of those above 75 live alone. 2/5 of all older people say television is their main company. Can you believe it? 500,000 people go at least 5 to 6 days a week without seeing or speaking to anyone. The Wuhan virus pandemic has leveled loneliness across age groups. It has managed to cut off even the younger population. Like I said, 41% of the world feels lonelier today. This is a silent pandemic. It's something we must address. So start with yourself. The next time you think you're feeling lonely, don't wallow in it. Talk about it, try to overcome it. And here's what you can do. Connect with people in real life. Rethink how you spend your spare time. Instead of watching Netflix or scrolling through social media, go out and be social. Take up group activities. Research suggests that even striking conversation with strangers can help. Talk to the person serving you coffee or the person sitting next to you at the cafe. It will make you feel less lonely. Research also suggests that spending on experiences rather than things can help you feel better. So go camping, wine tasting, volunteering, whatever you like, and don't be afraid to reach out and seek help when you feel lonely. Also help others who feel the same way. The lonely pandemic calls for social connection, not isolation. So connect with people around you, build meaningful relationships, spend more time making stories in real, not real. Come together to make the world a less lonelier place. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.